Yeah, to me, the biggest one is they have cast a character, right? And I don't know if we did a YouTube video on this or not, but they cast a character, Dena, right? And so you're thinking, oh, okay, well, that means we're probably going to be into some great hunt stuff. But now there's speculation on the internet, right? There's some character just named Steve, and everyone's like, who is Steve? Right? Is he just an original character that they're going to use? You know, or is he going to blend somebody, or are they just giving him the names Steve so that he could actually be, you know, somebody else, right? Like they're masking it. So the character Dana, right? You would think, oh, that's Dena. That's going to be Tom Maryland's, you know, girlfriend who dies in the Great Hunt. Yeah. But they've spelled it Dana. And so it doesn't really seem like there's any reason for that. Like there's no real reason for them to have it be spelled that way because it's just going to be in the credits and stuff like that. So now there's speculation that she may not actually be Dana, Dena, like it is in the book, and perhaps be somebody else.
Yeah, I have been wondering a little bit about that character as well because we're still missing some pretty large casting announcements like Min or Elaine and others, and so I was like, wow, who could that be, you know?
Well, that's who some people are speculating she might be Min.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well, but
the actors they have playing her, I gotta say, like, and you know, this always happens. You're always like, oh, that's just not how I pictured it in my mind. That's not how I pictured that in my mind. She just, to me, I just feel like they'd be going in a way different direction if they had her as Min.
If she was Min, you think they're going in a different direction?
Of a direction with maybe the character Min. I don't know. We'll see. You got to see him in costume and stuff like that. It's just like that's just not who I would imagine. That's just not my mind.
Picture.
Yeah, because even some of these other characters, I think when I look at them, I'm like, oh, okay, like I get it. I see it, and I get it, right?
Right. You know what's funny? Yeah. No, I get you. There's actually, I think it's at the Dusty Wheel. Matt Hatch, I believe, does like a good discussion about the like culture, race, skin tone, all of that kind of stuff in the books and how diverse different regions are. Because I actually would have to go back and really, like, I have in my mind, I have an image of what I think Min looks like. But when you go back and read, there's like these one or two lines where Robert Jordan will tell you what their skin color looks like and that kind of stuff. And it's different than what you would think. I mean, in Andor, we think that it should just be a lot of white, people. It's supposed to be kind of like,
right.
King Arthur's Camelot or whatever. And it's not actually. A lot of the ancient queens there did not have that white complexion or whatever. So that was interesting to me. It was a really good thing. Maybe I'll put a link to it. If you guys can't find that, if you just look up, I think it's just Cultures in the Wheel of Time, type in Matt Hatch, Dusty Wheel. It's a really good discussion. I think he does it with Daniel Green. I could be wrong about that, but it was pretty cool to kind of think about when we see these, castings, people who have been sort of like, I'm not really sure. I really ultimately don't. Even if it was someone who was described a certain way in the book, I really wouldn't be too upset if they changed, that, I guess. If does it make sense? Would you be upset if they,
well, I didn't. I mean, they have, like the people they have playing. They have Egwene, right? In my mind, just thinking about her, I view Egwene as like I don't know. And just like from all the pictures and stuff, the fan art over the years and stuff like that, you go back and you look at it, they have Egwene as more of like a white character, and here she's not. And I think it's great. This is a really diverse cast. It's great.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I'm saying too, is that the Wheel of Time series has a lot of diversity in it, more so than I think sometimes people, realize. And there's these really, sometimes they're obvious, sometimes it's subtle as to what culture or what tie back we're making to modern times. But yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Now let me switch gears here just for a second, because I want to give a shout out to one of our listeners, Olivia, who actually has been looking at the character Steve. Is that right, Steve?
Yeah. Everyone's who is he?
Who is he? Okay. So she had a thought, and she sent us this, just thinking that she believes that maybe he's going to be a Shamael or Baalzamon, right? Maybe the possibly one of the.
Should we really be saying his name out loud?
I don't know if we should. I'm exactly. But she kind of says, since Rand and company aren't really sure who he is, maybe we as the audience won't either. That we won't know who that individual is, and that he's going to remain sort of unnamed right up until we see him in action, right? I mean, they're not going to show us, right?
Yeah. I have one here on Dena from Adam Whitehead on DragonMount.com.
Yeah.
We know him a little bit more from. He does Wheel of Time stuff. He makes maps. He does a lot of maps. He's a big time blogger. He does a lot of stuff in Westeros, Game of Thrones. He's saying, this is kind of interesting, right? He has a really nice blog here. I mean, he's saying, he's like, it's possible that they decided to name her Dena, not Dena, but with an A, just because there's already so many characters with stronger E names. And it could kind of confuse the audience. Like we see this sometimes, in Game of Thrones, right? They take Asha Greyjoy, who is a character. But before that, you have a character named Osha, right? And so because of that, they decided to change her name from Asha to Yara, as to not confuse the viewers, right? And so they're saying he's saying that's one possibility. He's saying another possibility is it's a code name for Min. And then he's saying another possibility is he's saying there's also a possibility that Dena is a code name for another role, ranging from Mil Skane, who's somebody who I'm unfamiliar with. Mm-hmm. To the intriguing possibility that she is actually going to be, they're going to do a gender flip here, and instead of Dane, it will be Dana Bornhold.
What?
What? Saying it's possible, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Didn't think about that.
Interesting. That is very interesting, because we're actually going to talk about Dane Bornhold today. Whether it's extended or it's that last chapter.
So they did announce. They did announce another Bornhold, right? Stuart Graham is Geoffrey Bornhold.
Yeah. So now that's interesting, because, and if you look at the girl, oh gosh, what is her name? The actress. I'm trying to find her real quick. The actress that is playing Dana. That's playing Dana.
Izuka Hoyle.
Okay.
I just kind of have, like, fortunately have the, because in the big casting they've done, right? You've had the Cothans, Daisy Conger, Marin Alvear, Bran Alvear, right? It's a lot of people who we're going to see early on. Then the next kind of wave was Geoffrey Bornhold, Mistress Grinwell, Master Grinwell, and Dana, Dana. So you and I've talked about. Well, do you introduce? I think if it is Dana, right, Tom's kind of girlfriend who dies, well, I think that it would be important to move some of that stuff earlier, right? Because that way, because if we get to the end of the Great Hunt, if the end of the Great Hunt is the final episode of the season, well, then it comes down: do you lose Tom in episode 2, and then he shows back up in episode 6, and then Dana's killed? It's just not as much time.
Sure, yeah. We're not as invested.
Right. Yeah. We're just not as invested. We barely know this guy. Oh, now his girlfriend dies. Like, in the books, it's so much. It's an entire book goes by that you don't see him. So then you see him, and it's just different. It's there's so many more other things that happen. That's one of the things with TV is, well, it doesn't hit as hard, and you lose some of that impact because It's not chapters and chapters and chapters apart. It's 10 minutes apart, or like an hour apart.
Yes. Right.
So
I'm with you. That because I was kind of leaning towards maybe we would just see Tom's lover earlier on, or an apprentice
Yeah, I
or
think
something.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna if she is gonna be in it, see, I think they could cut that out. I think they could cut Dana completely out.
Me too.
Me too. If you're gonna do it, if you're gonna, I think you could cut it out. I mean, it sucks. You know, I like her. I just think it's cool. I think it's good in the story that Tom has this girl.
Absolutely.
At Tom whatever, and then he loses right, and so then it shows. Well, Rand comes back in my life, and look what happens. Kind of a thing. I think it's good.
Yes.
But what I would do is, if you're going to include her, then she is in Edmund's Field with Tom. She's like his traveling companion. That way, if you have her and she dies in like what would be episode 6 or 7, right? Well, okay, now it's like as the TV audience who is viewing this for the first time, you're like, oh man, that's his longtime girlfriend, and she just died. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah.
Because it's like in Game of Thrones, right? You can introduce a character, like you saw this sometimes, where hey, they're running around the Riverlands, right? And you run across maybe like a farmer and his daughter, and then the next thing you know, the farmer and his daughter are dead. You just met those characters, but you can immediately picture in your mind, oh man, that's like. That's his daughter. They had a life together. It was peaceful, and so it's just an easier picture to absorb. But if it's like, hey, I just met this girl and then she dies, it doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah. No, 100%. I think there's gonna be things like that are going to be different. I mean, we could literally see that character in the Two Rivers with Tom, and that might make us really go, oh, wow, that's interesting.
Right.
And again, I've even thought, I've actually rethought back to whether or not they're going to have Tom show up in the Two Rivers. If maybe they wouldn't pick him up in Barrelon or something, just to kind of spread out how you introduce people.
I think he will
who knows
be. I think he'll be by far the most different of the books in season 1.
Yeah. Okay. I love it, man. That's good. Yes. Yeah. Steve and Dana, like just interesting kind of people are trying to figure it out, trying to figure out what we have going on there. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah, folks, if you've got thoughts on that, send us a message. We can discuss it in maybe part 2 a little bit more.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. Well, you're ready to dive into the chapters, Ez?
Yeah, and you know what I thought.